Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Zero Time Dilemma. Let's hop into the next timeline. I kind of want to wait off on the gun sequence here. So I guess maybe we'll try this one in the middle. That sounds like a good idea. Because we did a gun heavy, weapon heavy memory fragment sequence here. Yeah, I guess that would make some sense. Let's do this. This is a fairly long one, and if anything, I guess you could check out the flow on a lot of this and just find the segment that connects. Because, yeah, whichever of these patterns is slightly different in its branches than all the other ones, or at least a lot of them are different enough that you could figure out the right order to play by just seeing the branches here. But I don't know if that's particularly that interesting to do, or to try to get it chronologically correct in the first playthrough. They obviously, the creators of this game, wanted you to have a out of order experience the first time, and so we should experience the art form in the game the way the creators intended, at least the first time. Like, it would be the equivalent of watching like Wizard of Oz with backtracked with Dark Side of the Moon the first time you've ever seen Wizard of Oz. That's a ridiculous thought. You obviously want to watch Wizard of Oz as it was intended and as it was originally made at least once first.
Where's Vi?
I don't see her. She could have woken first and wandered off.
Sigma! Sigma!
Huh?
It's after midnight now.
What? Tell me the year turned over.
It's no longer the year 2028, but
2029. How long have we been asleep then?
my last memory was 10.5 hours ago.
You're talking about the vote at 1330?
Yes, but that doesn't mean we've only been sleeping, though.
So this is very far in the
future.
future.
You're saying the amnesia drug made us forget.
They really seem to love to put like these hair decorations
Better start looking for Vi.
in the back of the head
Yes,
of
you're
the
right.
female characters, which is, I mean, it's something nice, I suppose, but it doesn't really add much. You know, some sequences we start with them going around looking around the entire place, but some sequences they don't even think about that. And interestingly, them running around looking is taking them to rooms
This is the
that they
last of the
really
rooms.
shouldn't be allowed to get to.
Vi,
Like,
where'd she go?
manufacturing there is not a room you should have been able to access
Zero.
as D
I can
team.
only assume you are searching for something. If you'd like to learn their whereabouts, do as I say.
Damn it!
Interesting that
So
this
what
is
are
not
your
a
orders?
video, just
First,
audio.
I shall explain the room.
It's also not the robotic female voice
The
audio.
name suggests this room contains a device called a transporter. It was discovered roughly 140 years ago, in the year 1888, at the South Pole.
Weird.
A German expedition was exploring the area. At one point, they became lost, and subsequently stumbled upon it. The device was carefully transported to their homeland and researched in secret. What they eventually uncovered was the fact that the device was not made by man. Perhaps it came from a distant planet or some alternate world. Regardless, they determined the intelligence that created it far surpassed that of humans.
This is a weird,
Despite
probable
not
red
understanding
herring.
how it worked, they figured out what it was used for. This device its construction is much different from what you'd normally expect.
This is very weird background music.
If you look toward the back left corner, you'll see something resembling a tree root. This is the nucleus of the transporter and controls its function. And to your right, you should be able to see two objects that look like beds. These are called input pods. Look further right. The two objects similar to chrysalides are the export pods. In the back is a large container called the material tank. Inside is oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, a variety of chemical elements that exist on Earth, stored individually. You use it as follows. First, place the material to be transferred into the input pod. We'll call it X to simplify matters. Next, select the location of transfer on the pod console. Pulling the lever will cause the input pod to begin scanning. This scan reads the exact placement of each atom that makes up Object X. The obtained data travels through space-time directly to the transfer point's nucleus. That nucleus will then analyze it. It will send the necessary elements.
Not a lot to say here as you're getting an exposition done.
And recreate Object X's original form precisely.
This really ruins
It
a lot
acts at
of
atomic level.
the surprise of this story if it is going to just be a case where
Massive amount of energy is required
where
to do a transfer.
all of these
Once
people
the transportation has
get
occurred,
teleported back in
it takes roughly
time.
10 months to recharge. The device cannot be used during that time. A variety of objects can be placed in the same pod. However, in order to transfer a human, each pod must only hold one body within it. Two or more people cannot go into a single pod. It is very difficult to recreate individual brains and proteins. I obtained this machine back in 2009. It had been stored in a U.S. research facility. American troops had confiscated it after the German loss during World War II.
This is a weird backstory
My
and a weird device.
explanation ends here. There is a special characteristic about this device, however. This transporter is not simply a device that allows you to teleport. What is transferred is only the atomic data. The object itself does not get transported. Furthermore, that data travels through space-time. It does not just go to the past or present, but also to other histories. Now, my instructions. Currently, no power runs through the transporter nucleus.
This creates a scenario where any character could be Zero from the future, and any character could go back and change the events that have happened in the past.
Well, I know you'll do your best. Good luck to you.
Now, it'd be funny if it turned out that the morphogenetic field thought and the going back in time from Virtue's Last Reward thought were all delusions on behalf of those characters, Junpei, Akane, Phi, and Sigma, and that in this timeline none of that really happens. I've seen this swirl before, and frankly I think I've seen a lot of these images before, so I wonder if this isn't a case where we are just supposed to find cards on the ground and put them in the transporter and send clues back. but I don't know what those clues really would even be. It's not enough information to have all of these cards together. It kind of feels like it's a counting system or a numbering system. Yeah, it's gonna have us just fill up our inventory, and then maybe we'll use this device to do some kind of cross comparison. So we gotta put 3 codes in there. It says place cards here. Stand here. At the end of the day though, if either one of these characters has the knowledge of the codes, going back in time, assuming memories move in the teleportation, also solves that problem. Like, only one character would have to be able to type in the codes to know all of them. Okay. So, the back of the card is different now. Let's go over here and place a card here. Can't do anything there. That doesn't seem like that's anything either that we can interact with, so I'm just assuming that these are what we're supposed to do. This is gonna be arduous, to say the least. And I assume we don't have to memorize the positions of where the lights are lighting up. So this is oddly close to a hidden object game in that all you really are having to do is find the hidden object, which was just a bunch of cards on the floor. We do have one extra card, it seems. Nope, it's the exact amount. Like, and if there was a real time limit here, then that would be something different as an experience. Meanwhile, I'm still not really reading the dialogue that's happening while I am doing the escape room stuff, so I have no idea what Diane was saying to him there. I think she maybe implied Phi and Sigma were dating. Here we have a very cartoony book labeled New. This is a hologram stereoscope. Wow, incredible, there's a picture in the air. it's okay to touch, it should be fine, but why? It's only a picture after all, you can't feel it. Isn't poking your hand through a hologram fun? Yeah, come on, try it. And interesting, it did react to being poked. Chapter 1 tells us that that symbol equals 0. Good to know. Okay. What something's happening over here at the nucleus. Wonder what it is. Let's go see. Okay. So my guess is that we have to start with 0. And we are potentially learning a code here that's going to be used in several places. Or at the very least, this symbol for 0 indicates who wrote some other things. Right. So that beats 0. Symbol we used disappeared. Maybe it means the symbol on the other side was stronger. So it's a little card game. Where did we get this antidote hint? I am confused as to when we got the antidote hint, but that certainly could have been useful later on. The main thing that we wanted to see was... Let's see. Which one is it? The blueprint here. So you can see on this blueprint there is the 0 symbol on that, which maybe means we will find other notes that maybe there's some trick in the menu. We have to open up the blueprint and then open up something else. Alright. Okay. Combining this with this doesn't teach us anything. We know that this is stronger than 0, so what we need to figure out is if moon or human is the next part of this setup. Because it probably is... It probably is something like Roman numerals. So let's see. Human. Alright. So we now know human is weaker than all the circles alone. Let's try the moon card. Moon is weaker also. And I guess at a certain level, if it is Roman numerals, then the pentagram and the moon would be weaker than the moon. We could try flower for flower. What just happened? The symbols collide together and the one on the other side disappeared. Does that mean our card was stronger? Right, well, that doesn't really solve much of a question here, though. Bird is stronger than pentagram. Bird is stronger than flower. So how many do we have? 3, 7, 13 cards? Yeah. We know what 0 is, more than likely. We know that bird is probably the highest setting. We can try the sun card. And this is a puzzle that's frankly stolen directly from the game Ribbon. We have to learn a numbering system. Alright. So I'm thinking 13, 13, 13, and then maybe 12, and who knows, that could be a 4 or 5. We can't do anything with the pods yet. Hey, we've got new information. Chapter 2. The alien civilization was created. They created this transporter utilized 13 symbols. Each one represents a number from 0 through 12. The relationship are as follows. When you combine a symbol, it's multiplication, not addition. Interesting. Which that tells you something of the smallness of a card, because anything times anything times anything to be below 12 has to be a pretty small number. 3 times 3 times 3 would be 27, for instance. 2 times 2 times 2 would be 8. So either a single moon is the number 1, which doesn't make sense because number 1 times number 1 would just be the same thing and you wouldn't have redundant symbols. Moon wouldn't be 1 times 1 times 1 because that would be 1, in the same way that 2 moons would be 1 times 1, and that would also be 1. So we now know for a fact that moon equals 1. So, I mean, moon equals 2. From that mathematical puzzle, and this really is a mathematical puzzle, which a lot of these previous ones really haven't been as complicated as far as mathematical puzzles should be. Which does beg a question, in the Japanese market, is this the kind of game for an edgy 11-year-old, 12-year-old, or is this the kind of game for an edgelord 27-year-old who knows higher math puzzles? Because a lot of these puzzles are too simplistic. But yeah, if the moon is 2, which it has to be, then the moon times something can't go over 12. So the person can't be anything higher than 6, because 2 times 6 would be 12. But also, we know that there's a card that is person times person, and more importantly, person times moon times moon. So moon times moon, we know is 4, which then means the person could only be 3 or 1. And again, it wouldn't make sense to have 2 person times person if he was 1. 1 is not an option. So moon is 2, person is 3. Then the question just comes down to the pentagram and maybe the sun as symbols. The fact that we don't see the sun maybe means it's 7, because you really wouldn't get is 7 out of anything, or it could be maybe 5. If the moon is 2, then the pentagram could be 6, but that's about it. We still don't know what the bird is. We now have apparently a question that we should answer. Alright, well, let's start with this one. 2. So they're going to make this easier on us. Let's see. Person is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Moon times moon is 4. Moon times moon times moon, it has to be 12. And me just playing the game alone wouldn't have really gotten me to the answer, I suppose. So 3 times 4 is 12. Whereas 2 times 4 times 2 is 8. Put that in the wrong spot. And so noticeably you have prime numbers in this. 1, 7, 5 for the unique images, which then really just leaves you times 2 times this, and 2 times 5 would be 10. 2 times 1 would just be 2, and that wouldn't work. 2 times 7 would be 14, and obviously 2 times 10 and 2 times 11 doesn't work. So this is 5, and this is 10, and then that only leaves you with the question of which is the strongest of these 3 remaining choices. Now I hope I didn't, hopefully that saved that. So we need to play the game a little bit more. Okay, so the sun is weaker than the sunflower, I guess is what you'd call that. And then, so the only other question I guess to ask would be to play this card, as far as the bird. Bird, we just don't know. If I play it again, it's going to play that always. Alright. The bird is stronger than the flower is. So that should be enough information, I think, to answer this question. If the bird is stronger than the sunflower, then the sunflower... Did I say the sun was stronger than the flower? I think it goes this way. But I could be a little bit wrong. could be that this is actually 7 and this is actually 1. Nope, that's exactly right. So a significant amount of that was fairly easy to figure out if you can do the math. If you can't do the math, you're just screwed in this game. You would just have to go through a walkthrough and look up the answer. And if you do have to go look up an answer online, you're probably not going to understand the answer too well. So chapter 3 is just giving us the answer so we can reattach to it. In order to operate the nucleus, 4 cards must be placed on the sensor. The alien society had 2 methods for expressing numbers. However, by converting the number symbols displayed by the nucleus to a second format, you will determine the correct cards to place. So we now have something more. Oh, this time the monitor on the machine over there turned on. We should check that out. Okay. All we need to know is 12. I kind of wish this would have given us notes, though. Like, notably here, we were not given a paper note. It was put in the digital book, which means if we need to go back and reference it in a different timeline, we won't be able to. But all we need to know is bird, sunflower, and human, what that translates into, unless there's some other trick to it. Okay. So are we supposed to input a specific code here? I think it's a display the object it's going to make. It's a 3D printer after all. Does that mean it's going to make it now? I think so. Let's try. Okay. Looks like something came out. So it made what was on the display on the monitor. So now we have decagon reels that don't have all of the symbols on them, though, I don't believe. It goes from 0 up to 10, I think. And now we have a different wheel that it'll try and print out. Something else appeared on the monitor, same as print before. It looks different to me. Let's just try and make it. It's the same concept, though. That would be a difficult cryptic encryption to break, just on pen and paper at least, because it's gonna roll around. Right. Okay, so we put those wheels here, and we did use every single spot, and we put these wheels here. So how do we input the code correctly? We have 5 codes here that we need to encode using 4 things, which I think means we gotta do something crazy here. Notably, it doesn't seem like we can spin the wheels at the top, which that's the ones we would need. Okay. Decagon is 0 to 9, but the tricadegon has 13 numbers. Yeah, the vertical reals show 0 through 12. Yeah. $14, 14, and then whatever the sunflower and the star is. Got some new chapters here, so I don't think I'm left to my own devices. Okay, it's not 14. I don't know why I was saying 14. So it would be 11, 11, 11, and then 7, and then 3. Noticeably, all of those are not divisible by anything, so that's probably more difficult to get to them. The alien civilization lines up symbols as a means of multiplication, therefore the nuclear symbols must be multiplied together in order to obtain the answer. But what about the numbers in a column? Humanity's use of 10 as a decimal base is simply because we have 10 fingers. The intelligent beings in the alternate universe have 13 fingers and multiple arms. But then what exactly are the numbers for the other method based on? There is a 12 base system that's actually a much better numbering system to use, and you can count it with a human hand fairly easily if you just count each of the segments of your 4 pointer fingers and then just for basically ignore your thumb. So the pinky would have 3 segments, the ring finger would have 3 segments, the middle finger would have 3 segments, and the pointer finger would have 3 segments, which would give you 12. 12 base systems make a lot more math easier. Will humanity ever decide to go to a base 12 system in counting? Probably not, but it would be nice if it was taught. I imagine there are some other tricks you could do with the 3 segments on the thumb of one hand to do multiplication or something. Okay, we need to just press some buttons here and see what happens. 0 times 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 wouldn't give us any information, times 5 might give us some information. Okay. And that one crank just cranked everything. And it doesn't seem like that's going to reset things or continue it forward. Okay. But what you're effectively doing in the top left, even though it's not visually being shown, is you're making a multiplication grid. So I don't know how you get to those numbers in any way. Like 0 times 4 numbers is going to give you a column of 0. If we want a column of 12, we need them to multiply by something, probably 2, and then we could get 2 by 1 by 1. That would be your solution. I don't really understand what I'm trying to do here. Let's see. The horizontal axis has 5 digits 0 through 9. The vertical axis has 4 digits 0 through 12. Chapter 4 says the two sets, these are two sets of mathematical formats. Those would be horizontal and vertical axes on the machine then. What's different between them though? It says. Like, I assume we're trying to get to this. There's like a little plug in the wall there, but I don't think that matters. It feels like it would be slightly easier here. Right. Well, one thing we should probably do is just... We solve the question and know it's showing 11 times 11 times 7 times 3. So we should just write that down. And how much is that? Like, we would have to erase a memo page, certainly, to do anything here. And I don't know if that's really necessary. I know the answer to 11 times 11 times 11 times 7 times 3 is well, I was about to pull out my phone and do it on a calculator, but I'll take the answer. 27,951, I believe. We should remember this. Alright, so I'll just, since you can't even bring up a memo on that screen, I will just type it into my phone. That makes more sense to do anyways. So let's say 27951. How is that really going to help us? I have no idea. Okay. Can we get to 27,951? If that number doubled, would be 55,902. That doesn't help us. It has to be divided by 5 numbers. And see, I don't even remember what this would be called. The factorizing? Let's see. Yeah. And Google doesn't seem to really want to do anything. Factors of 2,951 on Google. Okay. Positive factors are 1, 3, 7, and 11. So it would just be 3s and 7s. Negative factors. But yeah, you're gonna have to factorize it by more things, and this is getting really crazy in math, certainly, because it's gonna, it would give you like 3 times 9,317, and then you'd have to factorize the 3, I can't imagine that this is what they expect you to do, really, is to just factorize it down into other factors and then break it down even more. But yeah, the answer would be 3, 7, 11, and 11 in the top there. But then that's not, we gotta get to 3, 7, 11, 11, which, how do you get to that? As far as 5, because that would be a prime factor tree. But I'm not seeing another factorization on this website, at least, that would work. I need a 5-pair combination. Yeah, there's just no way somebody's going to be able to figure this out. This feels insane. Is there possibly a brute force solution here to do this? I guess there is a somewhat brute force solution here. In it, if we know the first number probably needs to be a 3 at the top, which I assume that's correct, then we should be able to gamble with this until we get that 3 at the top. Let's see, 2 times, that's like 10. We change that, so that's 1 at the top. I think that's 5 at the top. We're at 3. The next part we want to go up from 0 to 7. And now up to 1. And now up to 3. Now up to 4. Gets us to 5. I just hope I'm doing the right thing. It really doesn't feel like the game is helping you anywhere close enough to have been able to figure this out. Yeah. Okay. And then we need to get it to 11. We're up to 5, so go a couple up to this point. This is the highest number we can get with that combination. And that's not high enough. So probably means we need to go here. Or here. And there. Let's see. Still 5. That gets that up to maybe 1 too many. That's how it only rotates one way. That's, I think, the solution, and yet nothing happened. Maybe changing from 10 decimal to 13 decimal, then we'll set the numbers on the horizontal axis. It'll change 13 to 13 decimal. I don't know how this isn't just go get a calculator, and at that point just go get a walkthrough. There's just no reason to put up with this kind of player abuse, for lack of a better term. It really has to just be called player abuse. Let me just look up the answer, I guess. Let's see, 0 time dilemma 13 decimal puzzle. Here we have a response here that says I used a walkthrough for nearly the entire room. The floating icons are in base 13 and use alien notification, while the turnable wheels are base 10 and use normal notification. Now, how can you translate the form factor? It never gives you a puzzle solved. It is not a puzzle itself, but rather gives a solution for another puzzle. Multiply the value of all shown icons to get the true value of that card. So I may very well have the solution here. I knew it. Horizontal is 10 decimal. We didn't know what 10 digits, 5 digits decimal. I think we saw something like that earlier in the room. But what in the world am I supposed to be doing here? Just, that's the thing. Like, is it just pull this monitor or type it in? No handle here. Am I just straight up supposed to open up a pod and have somebody step in it? I think we already clicked on the pods and saw that we couldn't do anything there. I wouldn't be surprised if we find that Phi is in the pod already, and I wouldn't be surprised if the if Phi gets teleported to the future. Yeah, there's obviously just something I'm missing. These rooms feels like you are just gonna... It very possibly is gonna be a case where you just walk out of a room. Oh, okay. So that just opens, and that's just something I didn't even see. Okay. Human, flower, bird, bird. Let's see if that works. Man, and boy is that slow, dragging that with a controller. That cursor speed is moving incredibly slow. Failed. I believe the symbols there can be converted into numbers and we just put those in. But the slots are vertical. Are we missing something? Yeah. Why did I end up with this combination? I think I lost the plot halfway through. Yeah, because we were going for... I don't know what we were going for. Really. We were trying to figure out a way to put in the symbols at the top, but they start with bird, and bird is a higher number, so there's no way that would ever work. Would it? Yeah. And I just don't even care to try to figure out what the strategy there was. Because they're starting with bird. Let's just double check where bird was in the list. Let's see, that would be 3. Bird is 11. Because the combination in the hologram being shown is 11 times 11 times 11, and the 10 wheel dice couldn't possibly make up for that. Like, yeah, because your best case scenario would be 9 times 9. Yeah, let me just pull up a calculator and try this. Let's see. 9 to the power of 5. It's 59,000. So there would have been a way to get to that, but you would have to figure out how to get that way. Here's another comment on a walkthrough. They say they don't give you a clue, they do, but the rules of the converter need to be figured out from scratch. I actually figured it out, but I had to do trial and error. Let's see. See, I'm just trying to scroll down at this point to get somebody to tell me the answer, and nobody seems to want to tell me the answer on this. They all want to give hints. They all want to give hints. Nobody wants to actually tell you what the thing is, instead of just telling you what it is, when I think it's a hard-coded solution. Here we go. Just show me the cards. There. Show a solution. Human and 2 moons. 2 humans. Star and sun. Yeah. There's just no justification in this lack of consistency in difficulty. It's insane, and it doesn't make for a better game or a better experience by any means. So yeah, if I played around with that, in all fairness, I do want to also say that the general concept of learning a whole numbering system in Riven in modern days, in the year 2022, sucks really bad. It was only a concept that made sense if you only had Riven, if that was the one game you got for Christmas when it first came out. And there's a whole audio secondary language in Riven that also really sucks to try and learn. It's just asking way too much work. And particularly in modern days where you might have a Steam backlog of hundreds if not thousands of games, nobody has time to really bang their head at a wall. I guess the question here is, which one is the star? I guess star would mean pentagram. Alright, that's good. Yeah, that absolutely sucks. That's awful as a puzzle, and it really sucks that potentially 2/3 of this game is going to have escape rooms with just awful puzzles, particularly since the puzzles just don't matter. I don't care what's being said, I don't care what's being done at all during the puzzle rooms. I'd like to be able to just skip it. I'd like there to be an option to skip puzzles completely, or skip puzzles at least one by one. What, that actually worked? I only did what came to mind first. Knowledge from an alternate history? No. It must have just been luck. So now what happens? So we're going to get an animation, and potentially somebody is going to walk outside of the transporter, being transported to this time. Or we have to pick
It worked!
if they're gonna send both of
Yes,
themselves to the past.
Now announcing the current casualties. C Team, Carlos, Junpei. Q Team, Q, Mira, Eric. D Team, Phi. These 6 are now deceased.
So you can get the code,
What?
and you can go back in time, and you
can't
can
be.
save the day
The
by just
exit
typing in the
has been
code.
opened and subsequently closed.
Hmm.
The successful escapee is Akane Kurashiki.
So in this timeline, Akane
The decision game
Gets away.
has now been concluded. Thank you for participating.
This isn't what we wanted to happen.
Hmm.
We didn't want this at all. You tricked us, Zero!
This is a lie. It's gotta be.
And it seems at this point,
I
Sigma
refuse to believe
is going
this is
crazy.
true.
We've seen that in other timelines.
Sigma!
Hey, Phi! Where the hell are you? Are you trapped somewhere? If
So
you
he's
can't
flipping
speak,
out because
just
Phi
make a noise!
specifically has been
Please,
labeled as
Phi!
dead.
Please!
Noticeably, they
Answer me,
also
damn
didn't
it!
say the code keys. They skipped over that part. Which that means possibly these characters couldn't go back in time anyways. And type in the codes and escape. And so now we're seeing another memory from another bad ending, or flashes of memories.
Diana! Hey, what's wrong? You all right?
So it seems like we will get some more cutscenes
Okay.
here, but it may not matter too much.
Thank you. And Vi?
I feel like it would be fairly easy to stuff a body in a cabinet or a box in the background, or have spare
This door
bodies.
will never open again then.
Yeah.
Why did Akane leave alone?
No idea. There's no way to tell what happened over in Ward C. I
Yeah,
only know one thing.
they really aren't working up well to the
Carlos
idea of
and
going
June
back
are
in
dead.
time.
That's it.
So, you believe the announcement?
I would send Diana if you can only send one person back in time, because
Well,
Sigma
if what
may
it said
be
earlier is
breaking
true,
down if
then
he already went back in time
that
once.
means Q-Team is dead as well. But unlike C-Team, we can figure out exactly how Q-Team died. They were executed. Likely because of the vote at 1330. Diana, I believe you picked Q-Team then, right?
Yes. But
I know.
They have
You
to
just
leave it
did as the
open
note suggested.
ended
The real betrayer,
as to whether she voted or
Carlos.
not.
Not good. It's almost time for us to get injected again. We don't have time to waste. Come with me.
So it seems like the only thing they're going to know if they teleport themselves back in time is to not trust Carlos.
Sigma, what are you doing?
The X store will never open again. Now, all we can do here is just wait to die.
Wait, you don't mean you're planning to transport?
What other choice do we have?
We have one. To wait for Akane. I'm sure the police or a rescue team will...
We can't count on that.
But why?
This is the tree-form timeline.
Listen to me, Sigma.
This is not the time for pointless arguing. We are escaping this horrible history. We're going to where Phi exists.
Sigma?
Might not be a terrible
I selected
idea
the transfer point.
to
All we have to do
say,
is
well,
pull
you can
this
stay
lever.
if you want to, but you're probably
Then
going to die
we need to
alone.
run to the input pods.
Wait!
I'm going to go even if you aren't.
What?
I'm starting it. You ready?
And so, oddly, it seems like our decision here may just be to either jump in the pod or not. Let's not transport here and see what happens. I feel like this is going to give us a bad end. I was not expecting her to smash the transporter, though. I was expecting her simply not to
Diana!
jump
What are
into the
This has to be Zero's trap.
to not jump into the pod and
Trap?
let him go.
Don't you think so? Zero's the one who made us start this thing. If we transport now, we'll be doing exactly what Zero wants.
I didn't even think of that.
What in the...
In the two previous Nonary games, characters were kidnapped and gassed from their homes or their cars. In this case, they were kidnapped by a different masked villain, it seems, and not so much kidnapped from their homes, but kidnapped from a place they already kind of were. That's actually quite a lot of animation there with the lightning that they are kind of doing with hand animation, I think, more than video game CGI animation. There also was a whole cult aspect that they haven't even mentioned yet, so maybe the whole cult from the previous games is going to be ignored.
It's after 0130.
Yeah. Seems it is.
You're not surprised? We didn't get injected with the drugs.
No, I remembered the announcement from earlier.
The decision game has now been concluded.
Oh. The game's already over, so...
It's better that they call it the decision game versus a nonary game, because nonary is just a really weird word.
I wonder. I'm not so sure I believe that.
Sigma doesn't really have any reason to trust Akane as a character. I don't think he even knows who she is. He may have heard of her. So yeah, you get that ending. If you don't, and I'm just gonna, for safety's sake, always save when I'm prompted going forward. Let's see. Yeah. This is interesting in that this is a blue timeline connected to a red timeline, which does seem like that is going to make an odd intersection of different timelines. And let's see, it kind of feels like going and inputting the other choice, going back in time, will give us a different cutscene. So, what I think I want to do is I want to check the status of characters. First of all, just go ahead and skip to this point. And then I think I want to end the episode here. So when you see the status screen here, notice that all the characters are all looking like the pictures. That is weird. So they're always depicted like the little figurines. I would have thought in this timeline that wouldn't have been the case. But maybe it's because of the flow that we're actually in. Because we are in that different flow. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of frustration certainly in this episode, a lot of frustration on the number puzzle there. Can't say I'm particularly happy with how that turned out, and I'm afraid that's going to be the case for a lot of these memory fragments. But yeah, we've gone an hour, episodes are going about an hour, so this is a good point to end this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.